Step 6 is testing, giving feedback, and working to improve exam technique. Testing can follow a range of different examples. Tests may be short, they may be multiple choice, they may be quizzes, they may use Section A exam formats. Regular low-stakes testing is very important, and a good technique is to interleave and go back and place in previous topics into the new tests so that students have to recall information. Extended writing is very important, particularly in the literacy-heavy subjects such as English, history, social studies that have extended answers required in Section B. But the most important thing, as well as the practicing of the different types of questions, is the quality of the feedback the student receives from the teacher. We have to tell them precisely where they are dropping marks and why, and more importantly, how they can work to improve this. If they don't know how to improve, they cannot improve. So our feedback has to tell them the next steps that they need to take. We also look very carefully at exam technique, and there are two PiXL strategies that work really effectively in improving exam confidence and competence. The first of those is called walking, talking marks, and we call it WTM for short. So in lessons or in intervention time, a teacher will walk and talk the class through different types of question. They will point out how many marks are available, and the teacher will model how to answer that question type with students making notes. We're not looking for correct information and correct answers. We're looking at how to answer that question according to the rubric of the exam. So, for example, in English, if there's a formal letter required, every convention that the examiner expects to see is talked through and the candidates practice it over and over and over, so it becomes automatic. Similarly, for integrated science or any of the sciences, follow every rubric around the way they write out an experiment. So the correct diagram for apparatus, the correct way of setting out the method, the correct way of setting out the conclusion, so that every mark can be harvested. And often they will get marks for the rubric, even if their content isn't 100% right in different sections. A different technique that is most important is something called a walking, talking mock. No student is born knowing how to sit an exam. None of us are. So the more we learn about the techniques and the strategies, and the more we're formally taught this, the better our confidence and our skills will be in how to set about answering exam papers effectively when we're under pressure and when timings count. So a teacher will take a class through past papers together. Every student needs to be able to see the past paper, and the teacher will have their own copy. The teacher would also have the chief examiner's report and the mark scheme to hand as well. The teacher then models every single step that they would do if this was their exam paper and they were sitting it as a candidate. Right from the beginning of how to fill in the front page correctly with the candidate name, candidate number, school name, school unique number, all of the information that would be required. And then take them through the paper a page at a time. So for example, turn to section A. We can see that section A lasts for 5 pages. And within those pages, we have to answer 7 questions. All 7 questions are compulsory. Let's go back to question 1. And then you take them through how to respond to each of those questions in turn. So it might be that question 1 is a multiple choice question and there are 5 available answers. So you would talk the class through how, as a candidate, if you do not know the correct answer, you would close them down to try to work out which is the most sensible response to give. Importantly, with walking, talking mocks, 2 to 3 weeks later, the class is given that exact same paper, but under exam conditions. They now have a real experience of this paper to use to support improving their own responses as they sit the paper. Their confidence will improve, their competence will improve, and they will carry it into future unseen papers, which of course the real WASI paper at the end will be. So some exam tips. Practice these continuously. To improve student confidence, get the easiest question type techniques rehearsed first. This is where they will bank the marks. And there are lots of techniques there suggested for you. Critically is the leave no blanks chant. Every class, every school should be chanting this. Leave no blanks. What is the golden rule for exams? Leave no blanks. Because without any fail, if you give 0 response, you get 0 marks. So a blank will always generate 0 marks, whereas an attempt may get 1 of the 3 marks available, or may get 2 of the 5 marks available, even if the student wasn't sure. And make sure the students know the chief examiner expectations. I have summarised for you the chief examiner's reports for the last 10 years, and I've drawn out what they're saying are strengths and what they're saying are areas of weakness that must be improved. So getting students familiar with this, maybe through marking each other's work, is a really good strategy so that they know what's expected of them and therefore they can perform better.